Hello, my name is Mark Shepard, and I'm excited to discuss the role of connectivity in shaping latitudinal biodiversity patterns in marine ecosystems. While we often think of biodiversity in terms of climate or habitat complexity, you might be surprised to find out that connectivity plays an important role in shaping species distributions and genetic diversity in the ocean. Understanding this concept is going to be really important to improving marine conservation efforts and predicting how species will respond to environmental changes. First, let's start with this idea of latitudinal diversity gradient. This is a well-known and documented pattern where biodiversity is highest in the tropics and declines as you move towards the poles. There have been many traditional explanations as to why this latitudinal diversity gradient exists. One is energy availability. In the tropics, there's more sunlight, and warmer temperatures promote primary productivity, supporting larger food webs. A second reason that's been proffered is habitat complexity. If you take, for example, coral reefs in tropical ecosystems, they provide more ecological niches, allowing more species to coexist. A third one is evolutionary time. This proposes that the tropics have been geologically stable for longer periods of time, allowing more time for speciation to occur. However, another key factor shaping biodiversity in the oceans is connectivity. What this means is how species move, interact, and exchange genetic material across space. Connectivity can help maintain biodiversity by enabling gene flow, but it can also limit biodiversity by reducing opportunities for species to evolve in isolation. Today, I'm going to explore how connectivity influences marine biodiversity and why it plays a different role in the ocean when compared to terrestrial ecosystems. In the ocean, connectivity is largely driven by currents and dispersal mechanisms. Unlike land-based ecosystems, where mountains or deserts create barriers, the marine environment is more fluid. This means that tropical regions will experience high connectivity with strong gene flow between populations, leading to species mixing and genetic diversity. Polar regions are more isolated, meaning species that reach these areas tend to evolve independently, resulting in unique adaptations and higher rates of endemism. Depth also plays a major role in connectivity. The surface ocean is well mixed by currents, while deeper layers are more isolated, creating distinct biological communities. For example, diatoms, a type of microscopic phytoplankton, show varying connectivity depending on ocean currents and depth. In surface water, species like the Lysioria are widely dispersed by equatorial currents, leading to high genetic mixing. However, deep-dwelling diatoms, such as those found in polar upwelling zones, often experience more isolation due to differences in water density, temperature, and nutrient availability. This contrast shows how both horizontal and vertical connectivity influence biodiversity patterns. Additionally, seasonality plays a role in connectivity, especially in the higher latitudes. In temperate and polar regions, seasonal changes in temperature, ice cover, and ocean currents influence migration patterns, breeding cycles, and larval transport. This means connectivity varies throughout the year, further shaping biodiversity distribution. Although the ocean appears vast and open, certain barriers still limit connectivity and influence biodiversity patterns. These barriers can be physical, chemical, or biological. Some of the major barriers include temperature and salinity gradients, deep sea environments, strong ocean currents, oxygen minimum zones, and geographic features such as mid-ocean ridges, trenches, and continental shelves that can act as natural barriers separating populations by depth and geography. For example, the Antarctic circumpolar current isolates many Antarctic species from warmer waters, while deep-sea hydrothermal vents are home to species that rarely mix with shallower communities. These barriers shape marine biodiversity by influencing where species can spread and evolve. So in summary, connectivity is a key driver of biodiversity in marine ecosystems influencing where and how species are distributed. But there are some other things that are going in the ocean that influence biodiversity. For example, in highly connected regions, biodiversity can increase due to genetic exchange, but it also risks homogenation in other areas. Also remember that in isolated areas, species evolve independently, leading to higher rates of endemism. This is what you see in coral reefs. Also remember that not all species follow the latitudinal diversity gradient. Some, like diatoms, show peak diversity at higher latitudes due to nutrient availability and seasonality. Seasonality itself plays a major role in connectivity, particularly in higher latitudes where seasonal changes in temperature, ice cover, and currents impact dispersal patterns.